What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your ladies' favorite YouTube channel. Yesterday, of course, we celebrated Juventus getting a win on the road at Sampdoria to bring in 3 more points when looking at the table to try to submit themselves in the top 4 at the end of the season. We'll see what happens with that. But before we do anything, though, there's more to talk about when it comes to rumors happening for the Mercado for Juventus, and it appears it all hinges on the future of Paulo Dybala. We're talking about names like Zaniolo, Pogba, all of that, hinging on the future of Paulo Dybala. Stick with us, we'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today, it's Sunday, March 13th, 2022. And of course, we have your latest rundown of all things Juventus, all the latest news and happenings and everything going on along with the club, as quickly as we can get it to you in a bite-sized portion, in and out about your day. Anyway, though, before we do anything, though, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Let's just jump into it. And the first thing we've got to go over and talk about today are just some of the game stats yesterday from the match that was against Sampdoria. Obviously winning 3-1 on the road. I guess 1-3 really is how you're supposed to do it, but you know I never get that right. Anyway, so we're looking at this right now. Juventus had 52% of the ball possession to Sampdoria's 48, which, while that is fine, is not really accurate to how a lot of the match, at least for the first half, how it really felt and how it really statistically was. By the end, yeah, Juve ended up having the majority of it, but still, Juve's got to tighten that up and really get better when it comes to just controlling the ball, working with the ball, moving it around. Shots on goal, 4-4. Again, another stat that was not the same at halftime. At halftime, I think Juve had 1 shot on goal, but had 2 goals somehow, and that was obviously, it made sense because of Yoshida giving up the own goal, and obviously we just had a penalty kick, and that's how we ended up scoring. But at the same time, just an interesting stat. Shots off goal, 1 shot off goal, 6 for Sampdoria, and then, of course, 2 yellow cards for Juventus. Juventus are always going to win the yellow card battle, it seems, especially in the Serie A. Corner kicks 9-0, which is another insane stat, really, that Juve didn't have any corner kicks, which is really, really wild. They really got to find ways to earn those. Anyway, in attacks, 118-95, 66-55 in dangerous attacks. So it's not good when you have more attacks, but then the ones that were dangerous were less in comparison to what Sampdoria was doing. If we look at the table right now, where Juventus stands, they are in 4th place still, concretely, strongly holding 4th place, really 9 points above the rest of the table. Obviously, there's games that are going on right now, right this moment. And unfortunately, Napoli, I believe, ended up getting the 3 points today, so they're at 60 right now, right there, tied at the top of the table with Milan. So we'll see how this continues to develop and move forward going on. Anyway, let's move it on, though, to actually the news that we're going to talk about today. So the first news that we have here is Gazzetta dello Sport, and they have some input really to the Mercado of Juventus. And their first report is saying that Pogba to Juventus at the moment seems only possible should Dybala leave. This is surprising to me, if I'm being honest, if I'm going to be frank. The reason for that is I don't get why the two can't go together. Is it because of wages? Is it because of the amount of money you're going to pour into Pogba that you otherwise would have to pour into Dybala because he's asking for more money? I don't understand that by this report. It's kind of a short little snippet, so it doesn't really give you a good idea of what you should feel, what you should expect when it comes to Mercado. Otherwise, also, one of the reasons I thought it seemed better if you have them is because Pogba and Dybala are friends. They like to hang out. They had a little bromance together back when he was with Juventus the first time around. So I expected him Dybala being there to be a positive for Pogba's return. So that kind of is surprising for me, to be honest. It has to be financial for it to make any sense. But as it stands, we have a similar report about another player who maybe it does make more sense. So if we move on, we're talking about the other Dybala situation. It says Gazzetta dello Sport's reporting that the possibility of seeing Zaniolo at Juve would increase should Dybala leave the club, with the club also keeping an eye on Raspadori. Now, this one makes a little bit more sense, just because I know we've talked about it a lot as well, that Zaniolo also takes up about the same area of the field that Dybala typically does when he's playing. So the two of them may not work well together because they're both trying to utilize the same area, and that would make sense why Dybala leaves and Zaniolo would fit in better in that slot. Of course, also keep an eye on Raspadori. Raspadori is another attacker that Juve could definitely go after that seems to be building more and more steam as of late. Let's continue on though, because there's more to talk about when it comes to this. And supposedly shutting down any idea of Zaniolo comes in Corriere dello Sport, who is saying that Zaniolo has decided to stay at Roma after the club is willing to offer him a better wage. We'll see this until pen meets paper. I will see what I believe and what I don't believe. Just because there's plenty of times where when I say that, I believe that they end up offering him a better wage, but do I believe that he'll end up staying? We'll see. Just because. Same with the Dybala situation. Dybala had made up his mind to stay at Juve, and then here we are, still no pen to paper. That offered more money, but no deal coming in, no deal being concrete at the moment. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that until pen meets paper. We'll see if he actually really does say no to Juventus in the long term. All right, the next story up really continues on with Dybala, but really about his here and now. Is he playing for the club? Romeo Agresti reported saying that Chiellini and Dybala did most of the training with the group, except for the final part dedicated to shooting. Both are aiming to be called up for the Villarreal. So, I mean, this is a big time match. This is a Champions League match. It will determine if they get to move on to the round of 8. We're in the round of 16 right now. You got to move on to the round of 8, and then hopefully down to the semifinals. And we'll see. But really, really, really are going to rely on the availability of these two players. Obviously, with the center back situation, I don't as good as Rugani has performed as of late. I would rather have Chiellini there in the midst during a UCL, final moments of the match kind of situation. Who would you rather have in there, right? Also, Dybala, obviously, to have his firepower would be very helpful, especially if he is healthy. Continuing on, we had some comments from Max Allegri following the match that was yesterday. He spoke with Juventus TV and said, "It was a good game on a technical level. Then we have to improve when we have control of the game. And the second half, decreasing the pace of the game, keeping the ball, we had to verticalize and make it 3. Obviously, talking about possession is very important. You've got to own possession. Otherwise, it's really difficult to take control of a game. You're going to let them get multiple opportunities to come back at you." He goes on to say that winning here is never easy. The fans pushed the team and did well to consolidate fourth place and prepare ourselves in the best possible way for Wednesday's match. So definitely Juve sit in a really good position right now. We'll see what happens with Roma and the other teams if they're able to get 3 points closer. But right now, as it stands today, at this moment of me filming this, it's 9 points ahead. So you feel pretty comfortable there. He goes on to say, is Dybala's renewal more likely or the Scudetto? I don't know. Mainly because he always says that the Scudetto is impossible, right? He goes on to say, I don't know. Paulo talks to the club like everyone else. The important thing is to get him back on Wednesday. We have a chance to go through after a difficult and complicated game, maybe after 120 minutes. So we'll see. I mean, he basically also talked about how important it was for Dybala to be there, not only for this game, but just for the club. I mean, we talked about him being the piece that Allegri really wanted to build around, and it hasn't worked out so far. So we'll continue to monitor his situation, especially if he's healthy and good to go to play out there on the field with everybody else. And then he goes on to say we need to improve and we need to understand when to feed the forwards. And that's a very good point. They definitely need to be fed more often. You look at Vlahovic, who is struggling not struggling, but the ball never gets to him. We get to that final third and we get terrified and we consistently want to backpedal. Continuing on Juventus TV, he goes on to say that Alvaro is one of the best in Europe at a technical level. He struggles, though, with his back to goal, but if he goes diagonally with space, he is better and brings his characteristics to the table. Vlahovic did well when he came in. He always goes straight at the goal, and we needed to calm down and understand the moment to hurt the opponent. And I do understand that, and I agree, but again, I just don't understand if you're not starting him in the match, why bring him in for the final 25 minutes? That one I didn't get. I didn't really see him doing much, which is probably good because less chances for him to get injured. Continue on, he says that Moise Kean played well. When he plays, he is always effective. I don't know about always effective. I don't know if I'd fully agree with that comment right there. But anyway, off of what he says, he won the penalty and set up the second goal. He did well at Empoli, and that's very true. He did play very well during this match for sure. And then he did find it at Empoli as well. Kean is important. He's a 2000 player. He was born in 2000. He has to improve on his control. From a technical point of view, when he accelerates and when he has space, he becomes devastating. Yeah, so definitely you need to see him develop a little bit more, especially if he ends up going to continue on at Juve. Are going to have to purchase more as he can. We talked about before. Is there a chance that maybe Everton would let Juventus out of their deals because you know that like a PSG would want to buy him up? So we'll see. And then the final bit of the news, or part of the day, the comments that he had to say, he said to Juventus TV that Rabiot is having a good year, and then he has to give him his credit. When I don't think Rabiot is having a good year. I would strongly disagree with that. I think Rabiot's had better years the last 2 years than he has this year, but fine. He says he gives you the feeling he can score 10 goals. I don't think I know. I don't think I've ever gotten that feeling that he can score 10 goals. I get the feeling that he may have one banger that may happen out of nowhere, and that's what I get. He has pace and can make runs, but he seems lazy or he doesn't have that in his characteristics. He sacrifices himself. He recovers ball. He needs to be more effective. Rabiot on a defensive aspect is fine. He has plenty of opportunities where he tallies some good stats and does some good things defensively. When it comes to his attack, he's one of the players I pinpoint most of my comments, saying that you get to that final third and you immediately put on the brakes, or you make a bad pass instead of continuing on to attack. You make a bad pass, you make a bad, you pull it back, whatever have you, stuff that doesn't make sense. So I don't know where he gets at. When I say he, I mean Allegri. The right side is working well. Danilo understands when to move. Then he has control. Even better, he gives serenity and tranquility to the team. Danilo's definitely one of the better options, especially the defense as a whole. When you have guys like Chiellini, you got De Ligt, you got Danilo, and then even Bonucci to a level. You definitely have good guys that are out there who take control and also are good leaders. He gives serenity and tranquility to the team. With Bonucci and Chiellini out, he's a leader. We need to grow and understand when we need to make the decisive pass. So good points there. Then finally he says Wednesday is important for us. Then there's Salernitana. We hope to get Dybala back. He gives us quality. The boys have played a lot, always the same players. So yeah, right now you're playing with the same skeleton crew basically, game in and game out. First of all, it's not comfortable to play with a team of that level to begin with, especially when you're going up against important competition. Credit to them, they've played well as of late for sure. Obviously not losing games, but at the same time, something's got to give, and these guys got to get back and get healthy and get back into playing shape. Dybala, Chiellini, Bonucci, all those guys need to get back in and give some of these guys a rest, so that way we can have our best players out there as well too. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on the news that topics we talked about today. Are you feeling more comfortable about Juventus' place in the top four? Do you think they can push for something else? I know a lot of you disagree with that. And then also the entire Dybala situation. When you look at Dybala, Pogba, Zaniolo, who would be your preferred option to keep or to bring into the club? If you had to pick between those three, let me know in the comment section down below. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's show. Let me know your thoughts, obviously, like I just said. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Also, make sure you follow Bianconeri at Bianconeri on Twitter and Instagram, and follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter as well. We'll see you next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri.